Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Coram and Ken Shreve here with a breakdown of the action in today's session, where we saw stocks rally ahead of some key inflation data coming out tomorrow, Ken.
That's right. Yeah, it was sort of an up and down session for the market, but we ended up closing near high. So pretty good session. Looks like we got higher volume on the Nasdaq. Let's take a look at Nvidia, which was definitely in the headlines today after. Pretty good earnings report and outlook. Also want to take a look at Planet Fitness, PLNT, which reported another strong quarter. And finally, Southern Copper, SCCO, big copper producer, still has a good look to it here as it comes down to its 10-week moving average for the first time.
All right, some detailed stock analysis coming your way for those three names. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. We'll kick off today with a look at the S&P 500, which gained 0.5% today. Even stronger still, we had the Russell 2000 up 0.7%, and the Nasdaq up more than 0.7%. Lagging a little bit today, but still up was the Dow, up 0.3%. And looking at the S&P 500, Ken, we've been talking about how we're at a key inflection point in this market. Can the rally hold? Will we deteriorate further? Right now, we are holding, but that does not mean we are out of the woods. And tomorrow could be a very critical day for this market.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Personal income and spending report tomorrow. Inside that report is the Fed's favorite inflation gauge, the personal consumption expenditures price index. And I think the market's performance today was pretty impressive, because we got this downward revision to Q4 gross domestic product, went down to 2.7% growth from 2.9. But inside that report, there were definitely some hotter than expected inflation readings. This is for the 3-month period, October, November, December. But yeah, I think the overall inflation ticked higher. Had it in my notes here, and then I lost it. But it was just hotter than expected inflation in the GDP report. So I wish I could say that the tomorrow's inflation report is going to be cool and the market's going to like it. We just have to see how the market reacts to it. But certainly inflation and is just a focal point right now, and it has a direct impact on whether rates are going up or down.
Yeah. So if we do see a positive market reaction tomorrow, do you think that would warrant adding back exposure, Ken, that investors maybe have peeled off in this pullback?
I think so. We just have to wait and see how the market reacts. It was a little rocky today. We were, we opened higher, then we whooshed lower, and then we kind of gathered momentum into the close here. So could see an initial negative reaction tomorrow. Maybe we close near highs, but overall, the S&P 500 is getting support where you'd expect it to, right at that 50-day moving average. Still waging a battle near that 4,000 level. So market technicals still look pretty good, but tomorrow should be another. It seems like we've been having a lot of pivotal days in the market, but
I know,
tomorrow
right?
will be another one. Yeah,
exactly, because just like we would want to be probably adding exposure if we get a bounce, and if it holds, not we don't want to have trigger finger either which way, but we do need to be ready to act on the downside too if we do see further deterioration. That could very well be in the cards as well. So kind of got to be ready for anything at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen distribution days, as we talked about on the show recently. Distribution days have started to increase a little bit. They're not at an alarmingly high level. I think we've got 4 on the S&P 500 and 3 on the Nasdaq. So that's not a market under severe distribution here. But again, the technical picture of the market looks pretty good. We had a nice kind of heavy volume rally off lows, a pullback, and generally light volume to a key support level. So the pullback looks ordinary, and we'll see if we can get some more money coming in from the sidelines after tomorrow's data.
Great. Let's take a quick look at some of the other major indexes today and how they fared. Here's the NASDAQ. It is looking for support right at that 200-day line and those highs from December, right under the 21-day line during the day. That did act as an area of resistance, but we're seeing a similar pattern here. We've got this pullback. If we do see a bounce, maybe that would warrant adding exposure. But a breakdown at this point would not be a good look for this rally that is still under pressure at the moment.
Yeah, the Nasdaq, we did see higher volume on the Nasdaq today, which is a good sign as the index closed near highs. So again, that's just a subtle sign of accumulation. So
Mhm.
Nasdaq's in a similar situation to the S&P 500, except Nasdaq is just kind of firming up at the 200-day moving
Right.
average here. And yeah, exposure right now, we're kind of telling our readers 40 to 60% seems about right. Leaderboard is right in that 50% area. If we need to increase exposure quickly, we can. That's not so easy for a mutual fund to do, but when you're individual
Right.
investors, if the market tells us to increase exposure, we will.
Exactly. And a very brief look at the Dow and Russell 2000. Here's the Dow, an upside reversal today. So some support at the low from 120 there, still below the 50-day line, above the 200-day line. And here's the IWM ETF, which tracks the Russell 2000, getting right back above to this 189, 190 level. Will that be resistance? Will it be able to get back above that level and the 21-day line? We'll have to see what tomorrow brings. And here's a look at the 10-year Treasury yield. Ken, we did see that come off today, so helping stocks a bit.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mentioned that 4% being sort of a round number here. We could see interest rates spike tomorrow if that inflation data is not what the market wants to see. But thinking that this 4% level could be could be just a kind of a near-term resistance level. We saw yields back off today. At last check, it was down about 4 basis points to 3.88%. So get a little softness in yields here. That should be another reason for the market maybe to continue its rally here.
And XLE, how did energy fare today? Up 1.4%, so outpacing the broad market today, Ken.
Yeah, this was the S&P's top performing sector today. I think crude oil settled around 2% higher, and XLE came right down to its 200-day moving average, closed off lows, and rallied a little bit today. So this still looks like a it still looks like a broken chart a little bit. I mean, it is finding support at the 200-day line. We'll see what happens as it gets closer to the 50-day moving average, which has started to trend lower. But
Mhm.
XLE, one of the best sectors in the market today.
All right, something that we are watching is that sector rotation. So, speaking of, the chip sector was in focus today with Nvidia earnings coming out last night, and the stock had a stellar day today. Ken, in past market cycles, Nvidia was a clear winner and leader, and how it's acting so far in 2023 makes it seem like it is ready to lead once again. If you look at all of that blue volume, super strong price gains, and a big gap up today on earnings with the stock up 14%.
Yeah, we actually put this one on leaderboard, and it's been a while. We buying gaps up is a tricky is tricky. You need the right kind of market, but we were very happy with the way Nvidia held its gain today. You can see it closed up near its high. And there was good volume, and earnings and sales declined again. So you can see this the third straight quarter of declining earnings and second straight quarter of declining revenue. But there were some bright spots in this report. First of all, the results beat expectations. Maybe not a big surprise there, but they did guide revenue for the first quarter slightly ahead of expectations. And then I thought it was really kind of interesting. I mean, this is people forget you talk about C3 AI and some of these other more speculative artificial intelligence plays, but Nvidia has been in this market for quite some time, and they announced they're launching basically a new cloud services business that's going to help customers in the development of AI tools. So this is an interesting development, but Nvidia, seems certainly well qualified to launch a product like this, and I think the market's enthusiastic about that as well.
Yeah, and Ken, it seems like this 230 area being a round number, although not like a century mark or anything like that, but a round number coincided with the last breakout that it had in its 2020 and 2021 run. A lot of congestion around here as well in early 2022, and it's getting back above that level. So that appears to be somewhat significant.
Yeah, we kind of went back and forth about whether or not we wanted to put Nvidia on the leaders list earlier this morning, especially looking at the weekly chart. You've got multiple up weeks in a row, and then sometimes when a stock gaps up, you feel like you're chasing it. But we wanted to see how Nvidia held the gap, and so we're kind of looking at this weekly chart here as just a stock really showing strength. And here's just multiple, like I said, up weeks in a row, lots of accumulation behind those games, and then the intraday chart that you just
Mhm.
put on, you see that Nvidia really did a nice job holding gains throughout the session. So I feel like
Good.
we actually got a reasonable entry today. It's just a little quarter position to start, and we'll look forward to adding to it if Nvidia continues to perform well.
Great. And NVIDIA lifting the chip sector with SMH up 3.5% today. So definitely outpacing the broad market there, fueled by that NVIDIA earnings reaction and stocks moving in sympathy, I'd assume. Let's also take a look at Planet Fitness. Here's PLNT flexing its muscles today, up over 5%, strong volume to get back above that key 50-day moving average.
Yeah, this one tends to trade in volatile fashion, but two straight solid up days in good volume as well. So heavy volume gain yesterday, another heavy volume gain today on earnings, and this is really just a good example of a can slim type stock because you can see just looking at the recent quarters of earnings and sales, this company just really has a tremendous track record of execution and really good CEO sells at a high valuation, but the market is just rewarding it for growth prospects. The CEO on the conference call said today that they still can double their membership, which right now is at 17 million members. That was at the end of 2022, 17 million, and that was up from 15.2 million in 2021. So seeing big membership increases. They still think they can double that. So still in the early stages of expansion here, and the weekly chart is just a good setup here, holding gains very well after a strong rally off lows, trading near its 10-week moving average. So this is one that still has a chance here. It's a good growth story and has a lot of characteristics that we've seen in past market winners.
All right, and last but not least, let's take a look at Southern Copper. This is SCCO setting up here. I think when we saw the year kick off, not a whole lot of stocks were more impressive than what we saw with Southern Copper kicking off the year with this strong move out of a cup with handle in super duper strong volume, hitting that 20% profit zone in a very quick clip. So it's been setting up with the pullback coming in lighter than average volume, which is great to see. And it's now almost touching that 10-week line.
Yeah, just a really nice setup here. Really good volume that you noted as the stock initially broke out, but it's been a very, calm, quiet pullback here to the red line, the 10-week moving average. So if we see a nice little bounce here with conviction, maybe copper prices, rally. It could help SCCO, but not quite a test of the 50-day moving average. But this is an orderly pullback, and for those that missed the breakout, seems to me that we could not be far off before we see another entry here. Just depends if support is going to hold, and if buyers come in and support at the 50-day and the 10-week line.
Yeah, we'll put it on watch. And Ken, something interesting, speaking of sectors that we're watching and sector rotation, it really feels like a lot of the technology related areas and even enterprise software we've seen coming back to life, certain retail areas here and there, home builders. But this mining and metal ores group is still ranked number 24 out of 197. So it seems like even though the market rally may be a little tricky at the current juncture, it seems like the variety of stocks for our watch lists is still pretty plentiful.
Yeah, I think that's very much true. We talked about the home builders yesterday, and it's going to be a very busy week for technology earnings next week with Workday and Splunk and Snowflake. I mean, so next week is going to be all about technology. We're pretty much at the end of Q4 earnings season, but still a lot of high profile reports due next week. So it will be an important week next week for the technology sector as we see a lot of enterprise software firms reporting and more reports in the security software group. So leadership has definitely broadened out, and that is, a reason to feel optimistic about this uptrend that's come under a little bit of pressure, but I thought it was another constructive day for the market today.
That it was, and that could all change tomorrow. So we'll be ready to roll with the punches either which way. Or if there's a muted reaction, hey, that wouldn't be so bad. So we'll have to see what tomorrow brings. Thank you so much, Ken. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. We will be back with more tomorrow morning on IABD Live, where we'll be joined by Matt Caruso of Caruso Insights. Always fantastic having him on the show and giving his perspective of technical analysis of stocks on his watch list, super growth stocks. Matt has done exceptionally well in past U.S. investing championships. It'll be great to get his take with where we are in the current market. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you in the morning.